Beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraphim Gypsy, SeraFae Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I don't plan to be here for too long, but I do have some things to share with you. So why don't we jump? I feel like I need to pull some cards before diving into the astrology, especially given why this was a necessary theme and topic. I will be going into depth on the other zodiac signs, but more recently, some of the main signs of some of these karmic attackers have been the 3 listed in this particular session. So let's break these down. Okay, so Sagittarius, this is somebody jealous of your creativity. I'm a star, I know you hate that. Okay, they're jealous of your courage and strength. See how the light is shining on the word shining right there? How funny. They're upset that they don't have success in life. So to me, this is all, well, really 2 things. They lack creativity, Sagittarius in reverse. They lack courage. They're jealous of your courage. It's Pisces in reverse, very cowardly, manipulative, scaredy fishy. Jealous of your success, but very cold about it, about trying to step on people to get it, as well as actions towards the people who call them out for it or when it doesn't work. That seems very Aquarius, especially while being what I saw somebody call another person bean-hearted for being the other day, or your heart is as small as a bean, just very small-hearted, cold-hearted. And this is why there's no divine grace, jealous that they don't have any divine grace, which is why they've been blocked out, and also why they feel like they have to be an energy vampire to get what they want in life. Yep. Why they've been attacking people in their dreams or trying to, mad that their nonsense was exposed. For example, in my dream prophecy, jealous of people's lives, all of this has been coming out. Mad that they can't energy harvest anymore. Mad that people don't trust them as what? Advisors? Because they've been caught lying. They're not these well-organized, balanced people that they claimed to be. They cut and copy and pasted what they thought looked successful from us and then claimed it for themselves. But we get a free, safe passage from these people, and it wasn't free, it was hard-earned, but we get this divine clearance to move forward from these people who tried to cause ill health. 422. They tried to avoid justice by cloaking themselves, but their glamour spells got reversed. And this is why people see that they're not authentic, that they were inspired by the divine feminine and or the divine masculine, but they didn't actually have the strength to be that themselves. So instead, like the cold-hearted people that they are, they targeted light workers. Claimed that they were connecting to divine guidance with knowledge that they didn't actually have themselves, but that they were snatching from someone else and then spewing back out as poison to other people, out of context, in a space of rhetoric. And this was an attempt to destiny swap, like I said, an energy harvest, claiming that they were gifted and they're not, and that's why God called them out for it. Also, beauty spells, jealous of other people's beauty, divine feminine, divine masculine's beauty. psychic protection, but you're safe from this because we already saw what they were doing. God showed us what they were doing. The holy team, the ancestors showed us what they were doing. So we get these fresh start, new beginnings, and they have to go away because they're not allowed to be thieves of joy anymore, or anything else for that matter. See, fake friends got cast out, but there are real connections coming through. You know what I've been picking up on too lately? There have been a number of cases through the years where a light worker has supported other light workers, real light workers, and or also shout outs or looped them in when somebody was being grimy towards them or towards the collective, right? Like, let's say we saw a karmic targeting light workers and we informed the collective of light workers we knew were in our group, our vicinity, even if we weren't super tight with each other. When we saw ops targeting one of us, we recognized the difference between fellow lightworkers and other ops. So we tipped off the other lightworkers about the ops. Now, because these same cycles have gone over and over again, not just with the same ops, but the devil moving through with the same patterns through different ops, and these same light workers have seen each other have to stand up for ourselves and each other and give shout outs and heads up and support to each other. It's quietly, even from a distance, right? Even if we weren't all tight and communicating, there was still observation, there was still love and support being sent. And this is the difference between those plagiarizing ops and people who genuinely see each other, recognize the real, and support each other with love, right? Even if it's an introverted energy, maybe one light worker is whistleblowing and the other one's kind of an introvert, or they're feeling out the situation, but they at least recognize the fellow light worker in the whistleblower. And so even if it's quiet, there's respect there, especially if it's over the course of time where they've consistently seen somebody have to stand up against things like this, or stand up for other people, or call out situations, or shout out, give props where it's due, give credit where it's due. It's earned respect for that whistleblower. So now, people that were watching this, people who were given shout outs, given love and support, because it's been such a cycle and a pattern, they've seen these karmics continue this toxic cycle and pattern, but they've seen the light worker be loyal and dedicated, consistent. They haven't flaked, they've stood 10 toes down the whole time, is pretty much what it is. Their story hasn't changed, their stance, they say, their value, their core values are the same. And so now, even if it was an observational situation before, or the fellow light workers were trying to feel out the situation or giving quiet support from the sidelines, now when they're seeing it, it's different. There's a level of familial bond on a spirit level that's been built and established, and it's kicking off that as above so below, where now there's a level of them wanting to step up and be more vocal and verbal for each other instead of just send quiet support and love from observation. And I think that's pretty cool. But bottom line is that light workers who've been quietly supporting each other don't feel the need to do so quietly anymore, or they're not feeling so anymore. This is shifting. So where karmics thought we were all alone, actually we were building quietly friends, allies, supporters, soul family networks. People that through these cycles we've earned our space with, and vice versa, and proven ourselves to just by being who we are. Quite the opposite for these karmics, but I heard real recognizes real. Nothing needs to be said on that otherwise. Exactly. So there's healing happening here. And the only kind of harvesting that's happening is the harvesting of blessings for the light workers who've grown the crops themselves. Yes, with divine support, but nonetheless. The creativity also that the light workers have been building, that's finally paying off. It's also why all these plagiarizers are being exposed. Light workers are finally getting the credit where it's due, but it also requires all these fakes to be kicked out of the way. And it happens hand in hand. I saw that. Who was that? It was a country singer. Luke Bryan, I hear, or Luke, no. What was it? He sings, oh, I hear this line, her day starts with a coffee, ends with a, what is it? Ends with a wine. She takes forever getting ready, so she's never, beautiful, crazy. Got it. Luke Combs, thank you, heard, got it. And appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I think it was his legal team, possibly, if I recall, that went out on a little campaign to take down all of the companies who were selling product with his name on it illegally. They were illegally selling copyrighted licensed product. And there was a disabled woman on Etsy who was selling cups that she was making, and she was a big Luke Combs fan, if I recall. This was the correct artist, and she actually got snagged up in that too. And that's how I heard about the story. It started there. But regardless of this, the last piece of this, what's happening is that these people have been taking things that aren't theirs, and in order to claim back credit where it's due, that is a natural default, is the people who've been taking things that aren't theirs are exposed and held accountable. They're held liable. Justice. Somebody says, well, she's a disabled woman. Actually, Luke came through, and when hearing, I think it was Luke, whoever the artist was, if it wasn't, he came back through and specifically adjusted his team to fix that for this woman. He wasn't trying to target this specific small business. This was more towards bigger companies. This legal thing he was sending out, or his team was sending out, was to get big companies who were ripping off his people that didn't need to do so. They shouldn't have been doing it regardless. But because somebody's nitpicking him for that, no. And that's besides the point. Nobody should be stealing regardless. And as far as this goes, that's a very well-established artist with lots and lots of money. So one disabled woman making cups isn't going to hurt him, and he knew that, and that's what he said. But here's the thing. Somebody stealing from me as somebody building and establishing my business, trying to copy me before they think that people know who I am so that they're hidden when they think that they're copying me secretly. No, that's different. That's somebody trying to snatch my destiny and starve my child, and I don't take very kindly to that. And so that's why justice is being called on the situation. Katie Emmett's not a disabled person. And I'm not Luke Combs. Not yet, anyway. No, to be clear, I don't want to be Luke Combs, but you catch my drift, meaning well-established with fully lined pockets and nobody trying to leech from them. At least without options of proper protection. There it is. And it's all out of jealousy. Here's the thing, though. Being mean to me, okay? Being ugly to me, trying to copy me and steal from me, being a bully to me, it's not going to make you prettier. None of the things you did are. Not inside or out. Leave my collective alone. Yeah. So she's destabilized her home life now. Mami Wata picked something up about that in a reading. It pertains to karmics who've been stealing from people. Something about the home life of somebody who's been plagiarizing from people. They've been trying to live beyond their means. And they took out credit cards and then maxed out their credit cards. And Katie Emmett posted that she did that. She's in massive credit card debt. She said if she was really, really strict about it, she might be able to pay it off in a couple of years. But That's also her motive for taking from me. But she also went into worse levels of, yeah, stuff started hitting the fan when she started stealing from me. I noticed the timeline. About the same time she quit her successful businesses to try to copy mine, start one to copy mine full time. That's when life started going down for her in a number of ways. And then she tried to play the victim in that. But that was karma for doing what she did. And then instead of acknowledging that, she continued to try to push forward and then spun the story of, oh, I caught karma as, oh, life was so hard and I continued to. No, you're still catching it because you didn't stop. 1602. But Mami Wata said in this reading the other day that she picked up where this karmic who was plagiarizing went into massive credit card debt, took a bunch of credit card loans out and couldn't pay them off. And then also there was something about family possibly offering this person a place to stay because they know that this person's not making good choices or in a good spot, but that means this person's not going to be able to pretend to be successful living by themselves anymore. They can't pay their rent, they can't pay for the things that they're trying to pay for properly. They're struggling because of this karma, and they're being given an option as to either go to jail or a psych ward and take accountability for it the hard way, or go stop trying to pretend to be something they're not and living beyond their means and go live with their family where they can go get therapy and get some help. But they don't want to get therapy, and they know that if they live with their family, Mami Wata said in this, that they'll have to live by their family's rules, and that means not doing whatever impulsive toxic things that they're wanting to do, especially what they perceive as behind closed doors. And they don't want to go to therapy for their crap, apparently, obviously. So there's that. 1722. But that's why this is not a safe home environment. This place is going to crumble. This environment's going to crumble for this person. Yeah, because they tried to study up on how to be an energy vampire instead of a good person. It wasn't very creative and it wasn't intuitive at all. Also, there's a difference between being intuitive and psychic. This person advertises intuition classes, but also claims to be a psychic, but they're neither. That's why they're having trouble. See, that's the thing, is the universe has been trying to tell these people to stop. The universe was spinning up cycles to get this person to stop. It's not my fault that convicted abusers didn't want to stop being criminal because they're recidivists. It's a different situation. The universe has been kicking her butt to tell her to stop trying to step on my toes and behaving like the same people who've been bullying me and putting me in the position that she thought she was going to take advantage of. She's being abused so badly, she's not really working right now. Let me go pretend to be her and there will be no one to compare to. Crazy. I saw that. And I know I'm not the only person that happens to. Safe travel. Organization. Tell me about this. Yeah, see? She's supposed to go home to wherever she's being offered to stay with, whatever family or situation or something. For some people that might mean, for some karmics, that might mean moving out of state from where they are if their family lives in a different location. But they don't have a choice. The cowardice card came out earlier, and then strength, meaning they don't have the strength to get through this. And I also picked this up. I've been picking up over the last couple of days karmics that just didn't want to stop targeting light workers, and when getting called out for things like theft and attacking divine feminines and the children and stuff, being jealous of divine feminine and their kids, they didn't want to stop, and they sent spells, including death spells. And I've been picking up over the last couple of days that some of these karmics are now facing death prophecy from that. Yeah, see, look, Uno reverse. That's an Uno reverse because it was unsuccessful. And they don't have the magical powers that they thought that they did, and they shouldn't have been playing with that. And before the death prophecy kicked up, because they responded to the whistleblowing with death spells, I picked up that for attacking in general, which is what they were being called out for, because they were jealous of Divine Feminine and her kids, they were not going to be able to have kids of their own. Either people would not want to be with them or their bodies were going to reject them. And that's because look at what they're doing to other people's kids. You think God wants them to have any of their own? No, you already don't treat children or women right. You're not quit. And I don't wish that for them. But I will say that I've been picking up for a week that that's what some of these karmics have been sending at Divine Feminines. I picked it up and I've been clearing it out quietly, energetically. You see, what they're doing is trying to send, I'm sure Mommy Watsa picks it up too. I'm sure if she catches this video, she'll know what I'm getting at before I say it. I already feel it. Womb magic. They've been trying to make Divine Feminines sterile. They're so jealous of our life and our children that they don't want us to be able to have any. Okay, and so that's why theirs are going to be shut down or blocked on whatever level. Wasn't very creative, as if they didn't think we could pick that up. So there's, yeah, see, as if they didn't think that God would tell us what's up. Foolish. Glamorous got stripped. Okay, so that's what they wanted. And then also, as far as that goes, Katie Emmett, who self-professes to be a witch, also had a class that she was advertising on that website that said, it was like a womb clearing energy class or something. No, she was trying to put sterility magic on people. Crazy wench. If not directly with a spell, then just with that evil eye. Wicked, just sending daggers, black magic energy out with her ugly thoughts. Thick skull. All that forehead, but not much behind it. Leave people alone. I'm leaving my collective alone, that's for sure. Anything else? Oh, by the way, she's a Sagittarius, rising Aquarius, Sun, Pisces, Moon. Let's do this one. Tell me about this Piscean energy, dark side of Pisces. Thank you. Reversal, prosperity in reverse. King in reverse, somebody who wanted to claim they had more superiority than they did. Plenty, prosperity, receiving the fullness of life from the divine. No, that's in reverse. So is this. Inner power, unbridled confidence, claiming your place exactly. In reverse, you know why? Because she was trying to claim to be somebody she wasn't. Clear waters in reverse. Clear vision, confirmation, right timing, opportunity. Yeah, it wasn't the right time, any time, to try to snatch other people's blessings for them. That was not an opportunity for you. That was theft. It was a test. You were being tested. It was a free will choice you had, but you picked wrong. Releasing the old, energetic tune-up, new beginnings. It's in reverse. Cleansing in reverse. So there's no escaping the karma for this. Yeah, I heard that. How did she know about the offer I got with my family to... How did Mommy want to know? Because she's psychic, like me. A real one. Leave people alone. Don't hold back. It's time. Go for it. Dive in. I mean, you really should. You should take that offer. That's an opportunity for you. To not have as worse of a consequence as you will if you be stubborn and try to push this right till the end. You're being given a less painful out. Okay? You still have to take accountability and work out your stuff. But if you go and you live with whoever it is that you're going to be living with that's trying to get you to go to therapy and clean your life up, I promise you it won't be as bad for you as if you try to keep going on this. For sure. Yeah, see? You're a thief of joy. Joy in reverse. No more. Celebration, fun, unbridled joy, open heart. You bean-hearted bitch. Your heart is as small as a bean. 25, 22. I think the Grinch had more than that, honey. Missed. Trust your inner... Divine Masculine thinks I'm funny. Trust your inner compass. I told you, being led from within. It's in reverse, though. You know why? She's not intuitive or psychic. I told you. I'm not being mean, it just is. Immerse yourself. Training, learning, new hobbies, passions. In reverse. Yeah, because quitting what was working for you to try to become me wasn't the answer for you. Ugh, leave my collective alone. Heard that. They really are sick of me. Yeah, dude. Nobody wants to deal with this crap. They're getting bitter. Yeah. You're not. You know why? Because you weren't supposed to be doing that in the first place. And then you tried to attack us when you got called out, which was not comfortable for us. And it wasn't stressful. It was stressful for us. For as much as you think it stressed you out, trust me, dealing with you is worse. You don't even want to deal with you. It's why you keep trying to project and become us. You like us better than you like you. Go deal with it. Sit with that in therapy. Work it out. It's crazy. It's like they think that being us will make them happy because they think we're so happy being us. But the thing is, it's like they think that when we're living our calling, must not have the challenges to deal with, or fears or insecurities that we overcome or we've had to overcome, just like they do on their path. Except for trying to copy what is our life path isn't going to make life easier for them, and it's not going to take away those things and those. No, we became confident because to overcome those things, or aligning with our true purpose makes us feel in alignment and therefore confident. But being that when it's not your purpose is not going to make you feel like it makes us feel. It's not for you. You feel out of place. You feel like it's a struggle. It doesn't make things better. In fact, the things that you're trying to copy, the lifestyle that you're trying to copy, the things that it took us to get there, the things that we've had to overcome to get there are far worse mentally, emotionally, physically, even on levels than what you've had to experience or what you've experienced that you're not even wanting to face in your own life right now. Our lives have been harder on levels. The lessons that you will have to go through in order to even fragmentally understand what we've been through or where we are or how we do what we do, you can't handle because you can't even handle the ones you're dealing with. You're trying to avoid pre-K lessons because they're too hard for you while trying to compete with graduates. 28, 22. How's that working out for you? This is what happened. You put on your resume things that you didn't actually have the qualifications before, thinking that you were going to get the job, right? But then when you got the job, thinking that nobody would ever ask you to use those qualifications the way that you claimed, or certainly not prove yourself the way that you would need to for that job, somebody did, and then you couldn't prove it. It's like telling an employer that you speak perfect Spanish because you think it looks good for your application, thinking that because it's an American company, you'll never be asked to speak Spanish, right? Except for what you don't know is that the boss hired you specifically because they have Spanish clients that they were needing. Think you'll go in never having to speak Spanish. That's the first thing the boss wants you to do. And surprise, pop quiz, except you failed already in advance because you lied and you weren't qualified. And you tried to take the position from somebody else whose application was also on that boss's desk, and you tried to make them overlook by lying about it. That's your karma too. Any losses that you caused those other people, any nasty or negative things, any suffering that you took from them, if they were getting that job to feed their kids, baby, all of that karma, including anything that fell on their children, is yours. Be careful what you wish for. Stop playing with spell work. You don't know about energy enough to do it. If you had, you wouldn't have done it. I promise. I wish I hadn't have fucked with her. She really does know what she's talking about. Yeah, I told you. I just needed a nap and a medical appointment, and I've had a nap, and I'll get to those medical appointments when they hit the calendar. But we're doing better than you because we weren't lying. You were. Stay seated. 3033. Hope. Yeah. Hopeless. Why'd you gotta be so honest? Coming of age. You're immature. I heard that. How are your nails getting so long? You're funny. I need to file them. I was planning on doing that today, actually. Just a little. And painting them again, too. Time to walk alone. You need to sit with yourself for a minute. Stop trying to follow or chase other people. The Garden of the Night. You see, this is a karmic also. I saw it. Who tried to claim, I've been through a dark night of the soul. First of all, some of us go through a number of them. They go in cycles. Second of all, no, Katie, now you're going through a dark night of the soul. What you're going through now for trying to step on my toes, that's a dark night of the soul. You're about to learn the hard way now. But you don't know the first thing about it. You're learning. You're being forced to learn now. But no, you didn't know what that was before. Thought you did. Thought it sounded good when you heard me speak about it, but I've actually experienced it a couple times. You know when one of my dark nights of the soul was? When Delray died. Ooh, girl, you know not the first thing. Here's another one. When my only child has been kidnapped and then held hostage and abused with pedophiles. That's been bad. You know, not the first thing. Beauty of age. And so you're mean and ugly, and I see why you're jealous of other people. Your little beauty spells failed too. Next. Acceptance. And you just have to accept the fate. Impulsive karmic. This is a fire deck, by the way. Sagittarius. Yeah, told you. Be still a while. You were supposed to sit down and chill, but you weren't. You were impulsive and reckless. I don't have any fire in my chart. No, you just don't know yourself, and you're reckless. And that's Sagittarian on the dark side. Yeah, this was in reverse, and it fell on the floor, so it hit the deck, meaning extra emphasis. The awakening in reverse. Somebody who claimed to be spiritual, but they don't even know their asshole from their elbow, clearly. Born with a gift in reverse. No, not gifted. I was born with gifts. At 5 years old, I was crying to my mother about why I kept having the same scary dream over and over again. The same exact one. Except it was a past life dream, and my mother didn't have answers for me because she's Christian, who doesn't believe in that. I did. I've had them my whole life. I also remember seeing auras as a child. I just didn't understand what it was, and frankly, I didn't know other people weren't. 3333. Find a place. And I do now. I still see those, but I understand as an adult now, after having these back, what they are. I didn't understand. I didn't understand as an adult. Somebody says, well, what about the interim? Well, I was traumatized horribly, and so I guess I tuned those out for a while. Find a place to withdraw to. It's in reverse. See, there's no way for this toxic impulsive fire sign to run away now from what they've done. I'm getting lots of earth energy from all the leaves on the face of this one too. And this is that greedy earth sign energy where they thought that trying to steal from people was the best business idea. 3422. Stubborn too. That stubborn earth sign energy. Shadow dancer. It's in reverse. See, this is not somebody who can balance the scales or who walks between both. This is somebody who claims to be doing shadow work, but really all they are is a shadowy karmic. Yeah, the noble one in reverse. Not very wise, not responsible, not honest. Threefold prediction, which is why they've got no divine support. And you go back to the Piscean energy there. This is a fire deck. Oh, water came out again. The last one was a water deck. Let's see, shall we? karmic ripping your hair out right now. Good idea, thank you. You're right, we already did have that out. That's funny. So the angels let me pull out a couple of decks maybe a week or two ago, and they've been sitting there kind of just marinating on the shelf. And when they do that, I know that there are readings that are going to come up, and I just wait until I get the clear. But I did just get the clear. They said, why don't you grab that cloud deck for the air sign energy? You had the fire for Sagittarius in reverse, or on the dark side you had water for the Piscean on the dark side in reverse, and you can grab the clouds, the air sign energy for Aquarius. That's smart. But when I went over there to grab it, I realized that it was already sitting on top of the shelf waiting, and I forgot that it had been pulled out last week, 2 weeks ago. Perfect timing. They knew what was coming before I did. Katie, the holy angels knew 2 weeks ago that you were going to pull that crap. That's why they were preparing me to fix it. That's hilarious. I got that. Just clean up the space a little, make some more. Yeah, go here too. We're done with that. Anything else? This is not just for one person, by the way. This is just any plagiarizing toxic karmic energy. But since there's been one this last week causing problems, call it like it is. 3722. None of them are special. They're all just narcissistically doing the same thing. Speaking of, interestingly enough, contrail. But this is the thing. Those are not contrails. Not like that. Yes and no. Contrails are contrails. Chemtrails are different. Contrails are just water vapor. And when they leave the plane, you can see, let's say the plane is over here, okay? You can see the end of the trail start to evaporate just as quickly as you see the plane leave a new trail from this side. When it's full of metals and contaminants, when those are chemtrails, that's when they stay in the sky, and those crosshatch marks just sit there, and then they kind of slowly spread out. They don't dissolve as quickly as they're being left like regular water vapor would. That is how you know the difference between people spraying poison and water. Okay, karmics. You can try to claim that you're a cloud, but you're not. You're not water vapor. You're poisonous. And guess what? We're not drinking the Kool-Aid at your little poison party. Or the poison at your little Kool-Aid party, whichever way you want to spin it. Next. Mood. Told you, stubborn. Earth sign energy coming out in the air sign energy. Why? Because it's in her trine. Crazy. No rain, no emotion, just cold-headed, cold-hearted. Arrogant. Thought that they were high and mighty. Contraction of the condensation trail. Yeah. Man-made, manufactured, not real, not authentic, not organic, not divine. Fake psychic. Fraud. Ugly-ass Regina George. Knock off. Waste of space and time. Definitely money. Observationally speaking. Anything else? Confused and unruly. Cool. Yeah, well, like a storm cloud. Low. It's like they're ranking low and mid-level. No, low class. Can't compete where you never compared. Supplementary feature. Yeah. So this is somebody that I'm getting a flash. It's like this person goes and lives with their family. They're just kind of an addition to that family. They're not holding their own like they claimed. They're not actually doing anything like they claimed roughness. In fact, they're kind of a burden to other people. Because they go around causing chaos and then trying to play the victim and blame the real victims when they get caught. It's crazy. It's exhausting, dude. Nobody wants to deal with that. It's not cute. Nobody wants to be around that. It's not like they don't know that. That's why they try to cover it up. Check the down bar. Check the comment section for screenshot clickables when I'm finished. Let's do one more for this. I'm feeling like I need to let it go. Dull and uncertain. Again, low and mid-level. Not worth a lick. Just creating smog for the city, for all the people around. A burden. None. Right? No flow. And if they do have a sense, it's occasional and light, meaning, yeah, they might try to play the victim and cry a few crocodile tears, but, or maybe they really are having a meltdown because they're so psychotic they think that they're the victim when they're not. But again, that's a breakdown, not a breakthrough, so don't get it twisted or fall for it. However, it's fake, occasional, and light, especially in comparison to the actual level of anguish or destruction that they've caused the victims over the course of time. But the second they get called out for it, it's the end of the world. And it is, because they've been sucking the life out of people for extended time periods, and the second it gets exposed, they have to stop. So it is the end of that world, because it wasn't theirs to begin with. It's foolish. Because I've been picking this up both angles. Normally you see I don't usually mention people's name because I don't let people chase clout, but I keep making a point to drop Kate Emmett's name because since you wanted to be so grimy, I want people to know what you did. Yeah, see, you self-admittedly posted that you're an attention whore, 4322, and promiscuous, but this is not the kind of attention that you want. You see, I don't let people chase clout off of my name, but if you cause enough destruction and you're a criminal to the point where I have to address it, baby, that's not the point where they want their name involved at all. That's the point when they want to fully be left out of it. And so because I'm quiet about things for a while, often they think that they can keep pushing and I won't say anything, but when they finally don't give me a choice and I do, then it's too late. They underestimated their target. And I see it all the time. Every single time. It's always the same thing. I saw the signs, and I opened up my eyes, and I saw the signs. Saw the signs. Mommy Wata. Picking up the same stuff. There's that Kundalini helix. Those two lurkers just dropped off and the energy just shifted. I went from having to be more stern in my words there to everything softening up. Know your fears. Exactly. I felt that. Projections. But they left because they were spooked by the truth. That's why I got sterner and had that warrior shield go up. But they left. Because they were spooked. Let go of the old. Exactly. They're being pushed out. Love without conditions. Yep. Embrace the feminine. Heed the messages. So they weren't unconditionally loving. They were very conditionally loving, if they were loving at all. Whereas no matter whether they were perfect or not, we were giving them love. And they were trying to take advantage of the Empress instead of listening to the divine and paying attention to the warnings. Divine masculines coming through. They tried to come at people who are in touch with the elemental realms, claimed that they were. And she tried to make a whole element spell work class. Make the sacrifice. Yeah, embrace the dark. Trying to claim that she was in touch with fairies while being a dark witch and trying to kill people. Katie Emmett. I mean, one of the last posts that was on her page that I noticed last week was when I was taking all of this evidence. She was recently doing a split video with another content creator, like they did a video call or something together where I didn't watch it, but I saw the post about it. And so I could tell that she's come into contact with another content creator and is working with that content creator, and they're making videos together, I think from different locations, but it's like half of the screen is one and then half of the screen is the other. And the handle for this other content creator is bruja or brujeria or some kind of witchcraft reference. Oh yeah, okay. And then they sent Santeria the other day. Yeah, well, that makes sense. That was stupid of you, Mami Wata. Hear the ancient ones. Yeah. And then she posted, I practice witchcraft and I worship the old gods and I'm feral. You little demon. Yeah, embrace the masculine. That's why you have no divine connection, because you're a big bully. Reveal your truth. And your mask got stripped off, didn't it? I heard that. You witch! You look like a witch. Look how long your nails are. Keep going. I'll scratch your face off. Just kidding. But the truth will destroy you. And I promise you that will sting a lot worse. Okay. Let's see, shall we? It just started hailing. Hard freeze on your life now, girl. Way shower. Yeah. Fake. Trying to claim to be something you weren't. Like a high priestess. Trying to claim to be a caretaker or practitioner or somebody who genuinely cared about others. No. Spell practitioner who got exposed. And now you've got no protection for trying to block other people's or claim to be some kind of protector or guardian or teacher yourself. 12:22 here on the clock on the East Coast. Anything else? Nurture. I told you, there's your extra confirmation. Nurturer in reverse. They're saying Katie Emmett is not a nurturer. She's not connected to spirit. I'm not making it up. These all just fell in reverse. She's not connected to spirit. She's not a peaceful person. She's not qualified to be teaching about anything of peace or ancestral or angelic or anything, and she's not a loving person. She's a karmic who's jealous and tries to attack and separate the lovers because she's jealous that she doesn't have love. It's a witch, and an ugly mean hag at that, who's self-admittedly jealous of her wrinkles and gray hairs, and so she's trying to send beauty spells at divine feminines. Yep. Attacking artists and musicians because she's jealous. Yep. Mad because I exposed her as a shapeshifter, somebody who pretends to be something that they're not, somebody who claims to be a mystic when they're not, because I saw through that. I saw straight through her illusions because I am a real prophetess, high priestess, empress. Regal divine feminine, royal bloodline, descendancy at that. She got exposed as a fake dark witch and a false messenger. I told you. Why are you sitting there trying to trash people for connecting with beings and then trying to claim that you should look up angel numbers? If you don't believe in those things, then why don't you just call it numerology, except for the fact that you're copying from me, and I call them angel numbers, but I'm also an angel communicator. Stop lying. Yeah, I told you, high priestess. I saw through that. Anything else? Your strategies backfired. That wasn't very smart. It was malicious. She tried to classify herself, told you, as a teacher. She's not, and an oracle. God said, no. Not today, Satan. Wow, dude. This is somebody like squeezing their boobies together. She self-admittedly said, I'm promiscuous attention whore. Give or take a few words. Let me squish my tits together. Does that not look like somebody looking for... I can't even. I can't even. What I can't even say out loud what I'm seeing right now. I can't. I won't do it. But I saw that, and you're a skank. Stop trying to claim to be divine feminine. Divine wisdom where? Divinity where? Katie Emmett, wisdom where? Like, I'd be so embarrassed if I were her. Good grief. Yeah, well, that's because I know better. Way shower. Discernment. I would never. Because I genuinely care about people. That's why they're being cleared out. That's why instead of coming here and spilling a whole bunch of tea about those womb spells and stuff, because I've had other things to hit first, I just cleared them out for myself and the collective instead. They're not relevant. These people aren't relevant. 5233. So, that being said, and without further ado, I need to go step out in the storm for a second. Oh my gosh, the snow. It's hailing, baby. Open the windows so you can see. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hi, babes. Open the curtains for you. Very cold outside. Let's do this one. But before I do, oh, it's over here. What, my lovies? What you looking at? You want some lunch? Palo Santo. You want some lunch too? Okay, give mommy just a second and we'll get you some lunch. Okay. I love you, Princes. My little princess. Oh, watch your toes, baby. Oh, careful. It's very hard to do this while you're under my feet, babe. You know, you're just so excited. You're so excited. Did you have a good nap? I love you. There you go. Enough water? Let's get you some clean water too. It's pretty full, but might as well. my lovey. I'm going to light some Palo Santo too. I feel that. Solar plexus. Attack. Also in the heart. Sacral. A little bit in the root. They're mad. Probably because I'm about to crack this money deck. Why are you mad? Because you know I fucked up my money. Heard. Karmic female said. And also because she knows that people know that she's been stealing from Divine Feminine and that she's about to be in a worse spot and Divine Feminine's getting back on her feet and like the whole thing, you know. The script has been flipped. Oh, you mean so your little smear campaign didn't work. Got it. Well, that's why I whistleblowed. That's what the intention of whistleblowing does. It blows your little eyes straight out of the park. Google Bailey Sarian, DuPont. In fact, I'll do you a solid and I'll link it in the down bar below and I'll break down the description of this. What you're trying to do or what you tried to do is a classic narcissistic tactic called DARVO. And not that I made up, it's psychology. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender roles. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender roles. So they deny they did anything wrong and then they attack the victim who's whistleblowing so that they can deny they did anything wrong to reverse the roles of the victim and the offender so that they can play the victim and they can blame the victim for being upset and they can say that the victim's upset is so abusive while they try to hide the fact that they triggered the victim into reacting and having to be upset in the first place. Okay, it's called reactive abuse. Sometimes people are also confused as to what reactive abuse is because it sounds like you're reacting to abuse, and you are. Or more specifically, it sounds like the victim who's reacting is being abusive, but that is not what that term means, psychologically speaking. The psychology behind it says that the reactive abuse is a victim's reaction to the abuse. The victim's reaction to the abuse is not the abuse. That's how the abuser tries to spin it to avoid accountability and use the victim as a scapegoat. But what reactive abuse is somebody being bullied into reacting, and then that reaction, that natural response, being manipulatively twisted and attempted to be used against them out of context at that, and incorrectly. That's fraud. But the DuPont scandal goes as such. Many years ago, the Teflon scandal, DuPont, I think it was DuPont and Teflon. Was it DuPont? It may have been another one. I think it was, though. The company that has the ties to Teflon were pouring this chemical into this basin in the earth, right? They were producing this mass quantity of these very poisonous chemicals, and they were pouring it into tanks in the ground that were supposed to reserve and hold the waste, except for there were cracks in the lining of the tank, or they knew that the tank wasn't properly lined. So anything that they were pouring into this basically well in the ground was seeping down into the earth, getting into the water supply, and then poisoning all of the people and the animals in the area. And DuPont had sent out chemical testing on their chemicals to see if they were safe for human health standards, and they're not. They weren't. But because it was so expensive to fix, they didn't do anything about it. They didn't fix the wells or the cracks in the lining or the fact that they weren't lined. They just continued to pour this stuff into the earth, people sick, not caring, hoping they wouldn't get caught. But a farmer noticed all of a sudden, a very seasoned farmer, that his animals were getting cancer and dying. So he started trying to figure out what was going on with his animals, even doing autopsies and stuff on them himself. And he called the Environmental Protection Agency. That came out in the reading last night too, that card. And they had a EPA agent come in and do research, investigate. And he went to DuPont and he asked them for their records on this chemical to see what the safety standards were. And they knew that when they handed him this small report on this chemical, this Teflon chemical, if I recall, that they'd be in trouble for it. That maybe it would shut their company down, but definitely that they'd be fined and litigated. They'd have to pay people out money for making them sick and putting them in danger. And they definitely have to fix the damages on the earth. They would be legally obligated to do something about it. And they didn't want that. So what they did was they took this one small packet of files that he was asking for, and they stuffed it in boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of other files that they knew he didn't want or need, but that he would have to sift through one by one just to find that one report he had asked for. They tried to bury the evidence, and they gave him all these files, thinking that he would miss it because there was just too much and he'd be overwhelmed. He wouldn't want to go through it. Or maybe if his boss gave him a deadline to investigate, then he would, let's say he had to go travel to go investigate this town, and if he works for the government, the EPA, I'd say they probably would put him up in a hotel. But sometimes if a case goes on for too long, investigative or otherwise, sometimes they don't have or want to put the money into that case, or they can't afford to keep doing something, putting up a investigator in a hotel where they're not seeming to make any progress. So they were trying to burn out the system. But he went through every single file and he found that paper he was looking for. And he did press charges against them. It was like another Aaron Brockovich story on levels, really. To some degree. Who's a business partner of mine in the biotech company I'm partner in, by the way. True story, bro. Needs no dragons and shit. She and I have had brief interactions online through the company before. In fact, I congratulated her for being in the company, and she responded, "I don't believe you. I've got screenshots on Instagram." I really admire her, actually. She's one of my... Do you know about that story? She was injured. Erin, that's the only reason she ended up in that courthouse. She was injured from an accident. She couldn't work to a degree that she could work, but she couldn't work most jobs given her injury. So she was able to find a job that she could do at a clerk's office, filing paperwork or something, a courthouse. And she was going through paperwork, and she stumbled across one day some discrepancies in a case while filing papers. She stumbled across some lies, some cover-ups, and it was specifically about this water case and people getting sick. And she wasn't about to sit there and be quiet, so she didn't. And neither am I. Look, told you, damage. They're going to have to pay damages out to people now for the mishaps that they caused, and that's going to be our blessing, because they tried to create mishaps to gain blessings. They tried to hurt us to use us as a stepping stool. No. Their fake charm got seen. They're also being blocked. Some of these people are going to have to move, like Mommy Watsa picked up in that reading, back in with their family after trying to mess with our home lives or gain their own independence by minimizing ours. Yep. Some of them won't be able to travel. I know some of them are getting in freak accidents. Some of their cars are being shut down. Mainstream. They were sellouts. They tried to go mainstream by, again, using us as stepping stones, creating conflict for us to get attention or clout for themselves. Yeah, no. Claiming that they could help people with these things while trying to destabilize other people, when truly we've been the more composed ones the whole time. And don't do things like that to try to seem composed or gain a level up. At all. We don't need to. We're real healers. And so are our finances. See, these people couldn't stand alone. They tried to gang up recruits because they were not following their north node by trying to copy ours. They were in their south nodes. Meaning karma. They were running in karma, not blessings and dharma. They were not following their destiny by trying to copy truly talented, gifted people. 6622. And now as far as Katie Emmett goes, I'm not saying she's not a good artist. As far as paper to pen, what I'm saying is she's not intuitive and she's not a priestess. She's not a teacher. Not like that. She's certainly not a divine feminine. She's not a psychic. She's not. She's not spiritually gifted. Yeah. Doesn't know how to healthfully communicate, just attacks other people like a clown. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Can't compare, can't work with people like that. They try to compete with you and step on you instead of support you, and that's crabs in a barrel mentality. And they never get to the top because they're too busy trying to tear people down. But guess what? Those same types of people, this is the thing with the crabs in a barrel. If you don't know about crabs, you won't understand this, but I live on an island. Too. Got a bucket of crabs, right? The crabs at the bottom try to climb on top of the crabs above them to get to the top of the bucket so they can climb out of the bucket. But just as they get to the top of the bucket, the ones that they just stepped on to get to the top start dragging them back to the bottom so that the ones that they stepped on can step back on them. But then when they get to the top, this one climbs back. It's just a constant cycle that they never ever get out of, and none of them ever win because they always end up back at the bottom because they're not even working as a team. They're just toxic, the lot of them. And it's gross. And they smell like an old bait bucket at that. Yeah, you have a choice when making advancements in life to do the right thing to move up or to lose everything that you had by trying to step on people to get what you wanted. That was a terrible, terrible choice. It's like adjustments. Yeah, they did not measure correctly. This was not a sound idea. Hair measure twice, cut once. Nope, they were reckless. And this looks like a gambling table to me. It's a dartboard. They missed their target. They misjudged their target. But this reminds me of a craps table, the red and black betting. You bet on black or red. No, they lost. Snake eyes. You three-headed snake. It was Ravana, too, by the way. I was picking up that three-headed snake reference, and it's a 10-headed snake in the story of Rama and Sita, rather. But heartless, bean heart. Yeah, symbol. Told you. It was a fire deck that I pulled out earlier. On the back of the fire. It's the art on the back of cards. Impulsive, reckless, abusive. A thief. A grifter who claims they have skills that they don't, but tries to copy other people's actual skill sets. Fraud. Yep. Okay, anything else? I think I'm going to stick these over here for now. I do have a couple more decks, but I think we're going to wait. However, let's pause for a second. Remember to hydrate. And then I'll go through a little bit of that more distinctive, psychologically based astrology. heard the gossip, I heard the rumor that you said you made me who I am. You're a fan, you're so toxic, like Britney, bitch, I thought you. I blocked you just because I can. Heard. Alrighty. It's a very angry karmic. I mean, like, angry, flipping out, tantruming, wanting to pull their own hair out kind of a deal. Divine Masculine says, I'm so sorry they did that to you. I appreciate that. Somebody says, what are you waiting for? My hands to be free. So sorry, that was loud. That hurt my ears, so I'm probably sure it hurt yours. And I deeply apologize. Sorry. Somebody says, what was that? A grinder? Hurt. Oh, that's what you're doing. All right, I'll give you a minute. Yeah, I'm packing a bowl. I heard that. Oh, that's good. Touche. It's valid. I'll join you. Feel free. That's where you are, whatever floats your boat, of course. Not if it's not, but I've been here for an hour and a half, at least. And didn't properly medicate this morning, so there's that. Here we go now. Somebody says, why? Well, because I ran through the shower to wash off this karmic energy first. Took care of some things, got myself ready, and then came here, but it's all good. We're going with the flow. We're here now. It's not a big deal. Sorry about the squeaky. While I'm here. And I heard the gossip, I heard the rumor that you said you made me who I am. Darling, you're a fan, and you're so toxic. Like Britney, bitch, I blocked you just because I can. You'll still be a fan, bitch, please. Cheers. You can't stand to see me shine. Better buy a visor. You don't ever cross my mind. What's a sheep to a tiger? On your horse so high. Swear to God, I'm higher. Got you begging for a dime. Careful, baby. You got the zoomies. He's okay. We wouldn't throw you a fiver. Begging for some relevance. But as soon as I pull up on you, I scare you like a skeleton. Cheers. What's a sheep to a tigress? That is a grand idea, thank you. Where is it? I know I didn't finish it. So where did it go? There it went. Team meeting. All of a sudden I got a vision of this in the center of my forehead. You need to drink some probiotics. Okay. Well, I couldn't find it. Like, I know I didn't finish it. It's always right in the bottom of the fridge. No, I happened to put it on the side of the door this time. I never do that, but I did. There's a message in that. Because I saw it. They said you need to look on the door. I did. It just wasn't, it's never there and didn't look there first. I don't know why I put it there yesterday. Love, here's a message for you. Oh, you know what? That's funny. I see the message now. I'm not going to get into the depth of it right now, but note. Because that's on my checklist. So funny. The secondary message is things being like right around. Oh, blessings, solutions, or the things that you need being much closer to you than you think. Even if they're not right front and center, it was literally 1.5 feet away from me. It was just not in front of me. It was beside me. It was not, right? I was looking into the fridge this way because it's normally on the shelf, but it wasn't door this way. So if you're focusing here, you're going to think just a life analogy right now, maybe that what you're looking for isn't there, but it is. It's just right here. And so you have to turn your head. Ah, thank you, thank you. Here's an old analogy that's coming up again. I've picked this up for many years, many times, but it's the reference of life on earth being school, but also highway. So if you follow, this is why staying in alignment is important. In some cases, if you miss opportunities, you miss opportunities, and there's no getting that back. Like, for example, the fallen masculines, once they fall, there's no getting divine feminine back. That's that for them. They missed their exit. There's no detour. There's no coming back for that. They lost. Especially, let's say, like, two sides of this analogy, because the first one is, well, if you missed your exit, you can just detour and go on another exit. Yeah, but what if you had a deadline? What if you had a concert to go to? And by the time, because you missed your exit, you make it to that second exit and you loop back around, the concert's over now, you missed it. Okay, and so that's for situations like that. But in regards to these karmics who thought that they were going to block light workers' lives, or blessings or destinies, they didn't. They might have pushed timelines back a bit. They might have created some detours, but in this case, these are the situations where light workers don't miss out just because karmics tried to block our exits. We just had to look on the map, on the divine path, and find an alignment. Allow God to realign us. You know how if you miss your exit, if you're using a digital GPS, it will reroute? It's like that. Except for not for these karmics. The concert's over, metaphorically speaking. And frankly, they didn't have tickets in the first place. You can't get into our VIP. That's why they tried to block us from our paths. They were mad that they couldn't come with us. And you know what? I actually have a true story about that. Let me tell you. When I was 12 or 13, I had a bunch of that were girls. And we were all friends. And then one day after summer camp, I was picked up by, at that point, my stepdad and his new partner, his wife now. And they had surprised me with 2 Kelly Clarkson tickets for myself and a friend to go. It was like a 5-hour drive to stay in a hotel overnight and go to this concert. And he got us 2 girls, my friend and I, our own hotel room, and then he and his wife were immediately across the hall. So we had the 2 suites at the end. And somebody says, you leave 13? Well, it was literally, their door was here and our door was here. I still see it photographically. We were over here and theirs was over here on the hall, and we were the last ones down at the end. So right across, if one of us had yelled from inside of our room, they could have heard it from the inside of theirs, I promise. But we ended up going to this concert. I picked a friend. And then shortly after that, when we got back, all of them started being mean to me, and I couldn't figure out why. It took me a while. There's this one friend who I had known before I knew the others, but I loved all of them, and we all love music, but this one also liked to sing, and so she was jealous that I didn't pick her, basically. So she tried, because I didn't pick her to go with me to the concert, even though I only had 1 ticket, she tried to get all the other friends to turn against me. And because the one I picked was a follower and a people pleaser like that, even the one I brought to the Kelly Clarkson concert bullied me with her. Yeah. Story of my life. That was grade school. And then there was a best friend I had in grade school to high school, and she wanted me to date her, like as a lesbian, and I just wasn't. So then she did the same thing. She was mad at me that I wouldn't let her touch my butt. And she tried to get people to be mean to me with her. And they were in high school. And then guess what? The same ones that have been ganging up to bully my child and I, guess what? Same people. They're not good people. They never were. Scummy, bummy, bottom feeders. But this is why they do these things, because their whole life they've been doing this. They bullied they bullied their way to, in their minds, the top of the social hierarchy, you know, like the typical cheerleader jock kind of perception, or you had just the grimy, like grungy bullies, both. And then they get out of school and they've thought that that was successful for them in social settings, so they continue that, even if it's more covertly. They try to hide it in front of their bosses or whatever. But the reality is, as an adult, I've actually come in contact with some of their parents. And after seeing how their parents are, mean and manipulative and also gossipy and immature and often drunks, I can see why those kids were like that towards me as children. And I can see why they never grew out of it, because neither did their parents. And I'm sure probably some of their grandparents too. I see it. I don't fit in here, and I'm perfectly content with that. In fact, that's a good thing. Why you so obsessed with me? Cheers. I really like this one, actually. It's the hibiscus I think I like in it most. It's just good. It's not my favorite, but I do like the hibiscus in this. Divine Masculine says, no, they can't sit with you, and that's okay. You want to come sit at my table? 8622. I still feel like I need one more. And I'll also cast out any spell work. Let's do some Reiki. And I rebuke you in the name of the divine and Jesus. Let me share with you my favorite prayer too. I'm planning on writing this up on my website today or tomorrow. Just my go-to with God is, thank you, God, for the guidance and the clarity. Thank you for moving through me, speaking through me. Thank you for guiding my thoughts and my actions, beliefs, my heart and my words. Thank you for allowing me to say what needs to be said, nothing more, nothing less. Thank you. I give my body unto you. Do with me as you will. Not my will, thy will. I am yours. Amen. Helps to see through the eyes of the divine instead of ego. That's how I got these karmics and their bullshit. Because it wasn't me, it was God. I just listened. But then God calls me to speak. Very loud. I hear a pink song. Made a wrong turn once or twice, and I dug my way out, blood and fire. Bad decisions, that's alright. Welcome to my silly life. Mistreated, mistake, misunderstood, miss. No way, it's all good, miss. Couldn't hold me down. Mistaking, always second guessing. Look how around we made it. Look, I'm still around. Pretty, pretty, please. Don't you ever, ever feel like you are perfect to me. Cover me in sunshine. That's also pink. I hear that one as it's hailing out. Cover me in sunshine. Tell me when the world stops spinning since the beginning, and everything will be alright. I've been dreaming. She sang that with her daughter. Ooh. Right in the heart chakra. Cheers. All right. Start with Aquarius, I think. Whoops. Aquarius on the dark side. So there's a reference of conscious awareness with Aquarius, typically speaking, but on the dark side, Aquarius's sense of personal self is not well anchored. Hear the cat in the box. A positive Aquarius, an upright Aquarius, has a reference of baptism energy. This is not a positive Aquarius. We're talking about dark side of Aquarius as the cat's peeing in the box. Talk about the water bearer. Aquarius usually is seen as somebody pouring a vase of water out into a river. Yeah, well, these karmic Aquariuses' waters have been poisoned and peed in. Trying to combat light workers for them has been like peeing upwind or upstream. It's just blowing right back in their face and their water supply. Because the personality center is weak and lacking in self-consciousness, Aquarius attracts a myriad of life experiences. Their weak personality is unable to discriminate and prioritize the importance of these experiences. Therefore, Aquarius will tend to be very indiscriminate in choosing their friends and life goals, right? Like trying to plagiarize from me, for example. 9422. At this level, this dark, immature level, Aquarius is an airhead. There is no profound personality center. There is a tendency to throw himself or herself away and to diffuse what little coherence exists. So what little sense of self and organization of any aspect of their life that they may have had, they throw it right in the trash by trying to, well, let me give you an example, right? Katie had a art business where she was selling her art and doing seemingly well at that. She also had a hula hoop selling business, which she was doing well at, and she stated herself that when she quit doing that, she started to struggle. But when she quit doing that, she decided to copy me, and then her life continued to go to the toilet. She kept getting sick and mold, and her whole house was falling apart, and she had to move. But it's because she was trying to make money to live off of stealing from me, and God said no. Like, she never supported me, she never liked my posts, she never, no, I shared and helped her, but she copied everything I do. That's a hater, not a friend. That's a stan, a stalker. Gross. That's a blocked person. That's a person who's no longer in my life, and for good reason, but for that reason in particular. Okay, and so she threw her whole life away, what was working for her, to try to copy me. That's not for her, which is why it's not been working for her and why she got caught. There's a tendency to throw herself away to diffuse what little coherence existed. Aquarius may consistently make something out of nothing. And so, for example, she tried to make this whole scene when I called her out for stealing from me as if I was the problem. But that's not what the people she tried to gossip about me to and recruit against me actually said. I heard some of the conversations. She tried to say I was jealous, and they said, no, I think she just doesn't like liars and fake people. You're stealing from her, and she figured out that you were doing it. There was another one too, like, a couple of things like that. People just don't agree with them. They don't agree at what they were doing, at their reaction towards getting called out for it. They don't think we're wrong for calling them out. They think that they were wrong for giving us reason to have to call them out. For starters, 9722. Aquarius may consistently make something out of nothing, thereby inventing needless complications within relationships. Thank you. In order to achieve true equanimity in relationships, Aquarius must go through the painful stage of making and then losing relationships, like this one with me. Aquarius, at this low vibrational, immature, unevolved, dark level, tries to be all things to all people, right? Like trying to copy me when it's not her life purpose. 1:11 on the clock here on the East Coast. I just switched, but see. Often exhausting himself in the process. At this level, Aquarius may join indiscriminately those cults and sects where group identification takes the place of individualization. So she tried to become a spiritual practitioner. She joined some degree of a spiritual cult to escape reality. And that's what happens when people try to run away. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasizing way to escape reality, the reality of who they are, the reality of their life. They try to pretend to be someone else, or dive headfirst into spirituality because it's better than facing their actual shadow wounds and their real life issues. That's what it is for them. I don't do that. I'm spiritual, but I also use both, and I use the spiritual side to I'm a real shadow worker. I'm a light worker, but I also do the shadow work. See, that's alchemy, babe. It's about duality, Gemini. 9922. And it actually is written in my destiny path. Aquarius like to represent something, which is why she wanted to be the face of spirituality, to stand for a certain set of values. However, Aquarius may choose to merge led by blind Leo type personalities. So, hello, I actually have Leo in my sector of my destiny path as well, wouldn't you know? And not just Aries, I'm also Leo. In fact, Katie has Capricorn. She talks all about Capricorn, which is the devil aspect. She's running on the devil energy. Now, I actually have Cap in my aspects as well, but where it is for me in particular, for me, my placement of Capricorn is set for me to overcome the devil energy, but where my healing and my strength sector is, that's Leo. So I've got the strength to overcome the devil, right? Where what I need to overcome is Capricorn. It's the devil in my chart. But where my healing and my strength is, it's Leo. In the tarot, if the devil comes out, it means overcome, and if the strength card comes out, it means the devil's lurking. But for me, the devil's obviously there. It's been after me my whole life since the day I was born, but I came out blue like Osiris and facing God. I might not have realized I've had principalities after me since the day I was born, but I do now, and I have the strength to overcome it. Leo, healer, light, the light, fire. That's why Sun Reiki. Hello. But let's see, go back to this one. To stand for a certain set of values. However, Aquarius may merge into an unconscious mass led by equally blind Leo type personalities. So not the second piece of this. Because the blind Leos also fell, right? The last fallen masculine I watched was a Leo who thought, just like Katie, he was, actually I called him out this morning, that was Cam and Adam Merchant. He had a divine contract to be a twin, but he lost it. And there's no coming back from that. His middle name is Adam. The town that I'm currently speaking from, that I was born and raised in, it used to be called Eden on the map, as if is in the Garden of Eden. So Adam fell in this one. 10222. But they behaved very much like each other. I'll link that community post in the description box when I'm done. Aquarius may choose to merge into an unconscious mass led by equally blind people. And so this is the whole thing of these fake people diving into spirituality, but they're fake practitioners and they don't actually even understand where they're teaching, what they're teaching in their own life. Clearly, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this and getting caught for it. Doing this at all, let alone doing something that God would have to expose them for to be caught in the first place. Whereas Leo, on the personality level, seeks to have the universe revolve around him, Aquarius on this level will attempt to rid himself of all fragments of any individual self, right? And so she tried to escape the reality of who she was in her real life by trying to slip into my shoe, force her big feet into my Cinderella glass slippers, and she cut herself on the process because they don't fit. And she tried to distract herself from the fact that she doesn't like herself or her life by pretending to be someone that she's not, something that she's not. At an unconscious level, Aquarius can experience some very difficult circumstances. And this is why. Because they do things like this and then try to play the victim when they're not, for starters. 10422. Negative characteristics of Aquarius. Aquarius can be absent-minded, inflexible, and extremely stubborn, kind of like toxic Taurus, Earth sign. This personality, I heard hard head, soft ass. This personality-centered Aquarius, being spanked by the divine. This personality, Sky Daddy, I keep hearing these little downloads. That's so funny. Can I speak a sentence now? Do you have anything else? No, go forth. Thanks. I'm not complaining. Thank you. Aquarius can be absent-minded, inflexible, and extremely stubborn. The personality-centered Aquarius will rebel for the pleasure of it, striking out in all directions with no real purpose, and will deliberately attempt to shock people by their behavior. Aquarius can be critical and demanding in positions of authority. There can be coldness and detachment that repels rather than attracts, and so that's why trying to pretend to be me wasn't it, for starters. Give you the recipe, but the sauce will never taste the same. We're not made of the same ingredients. Quality over quantity. She didn't make the cut. None of the karmics did. Aquarius can be unpredictable, eccentric, tactless, and impersonal. Aquarius is impatient. Patience, young Padawan, not so young Padawan. Wondering why it was not done yesterday. He would like to have everything. Isn't that funny? While they're sitting there misjudging other people. Well, maybe if you minded your business and didn't call me out for stealing from you, then you'd have your child, even though you have had to use your platform to educate about corruption in the system and people trying to help criminals and take bribes and, shut up. That's why you're not qualified. Stay seated. You couldn't handle what people have been through that you wanted to try to copy or bully. I hear Maybe It Was Me by Sodi, and yes, it was you. It was you. In case you didn't catch that. 10722. She says, maybe it was me that fucked this up. It's like these karmics are having a reality check. The fantasies are shattering. They're having a reality check as to the fact that they were indeed, and they were immature. Maybe we were both just too young. No, you were immature. For starters. So, he would like to have everything immediately and therefore will tend to do as much as possible rather than depend and wait on others. Aquarius may fail to pay attention to details, right? Like how trying to snatch someone else's blessings was actually causing their own destruction. For starters, 108.22 and 122 on the clock here on the East Coast. Aquarius must be careful to limit humanitarian efforts to those he or she can complete. And this is in regards to not trying to step on other people's toes and snatch destinies that they don't have the qualifications or skill sets to do, for starters. 109.22. As far as health and well-being, there's a reference of depletion, irritability, increased vulnerability to physical and emotional disease, as well as stress and challenges. So they have to work on with resentment and conflicts, especially because they're inflexible. They think they know it all, whether they know it or not, or whether it's valid or not. And I'm not making that up. It's right here. For the person dealing with Sagittarius, 11138. I hear that Sody song again. It's S-O-D-Y. And it's called Maybe It Was Me. She says, I painted you with the blame and it's not okay. I wonder if you've forgiven me yet. 'Cause I am still trying, and I am still trying to. And I was selfish, couldn't help it. But I still think about you, still think about you. I know I'm trouble, but I still think about you. Maybe it was me that messed this up. Maybe everything was all my fault. And maybe it was me. They're realizing that it was their issue. So, as far as the dark side of Sagittarius goes, mental energy of somebody who's immature, low vibrational, unevolved on the dark side of Sag will be totally under the direction of emotional desires, so impulses. On the one side, it's very toxic. On one side, you've got Aquarius that is aloof and out of touch with their emotions and very cold and just rigid and mean. And then you also have, and they think they're right, which is even worse. And then you also have Sagittarius on the dark side, which is just toxic and over emotional and impulsive in all the worst ways. So on both sides, they're unemotional where they should be emotional, and then they're too emotional where they should be chill. They have the worst of both and no balance in between. We'll get to the Pisces in a minute. Because then that's the fish going back and forth, right? And then it's just a bad cycle over and over again. They keep trying to play the victim and they stay stuck in it. But guess what? So does Sagittarius, so that plays on that too. So, mental energy of Sag on this level will be totally under the direction of emotional desire. I want tablespoons. So this is coming here. Now I can have my hands free. They are totally under the direction of emotional desire. The individual is unaware of this mental subservience to the emotional desires, so they're not even conscious of the fact that they're impulsive, emotionally driven, reckless. I don't have any fire in my chart. La, 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 la. But your trine sign, your main sign, is a fire sign, and you're so deeply dove into the recklessness of the wildfire that you can't even see yourself burning. I saw it. All the way from over here. And so did Mommy Wata. This imbalance keeps Sagittarius busy, constantly creating more desires to be satisfied, like trying to snatch other people's destinies and then creating dramas when they get called out for it, impulsively, over emotionally. which, by the way, the Virgo in me has no patience for at all. Virgo has little to no patience for people who keep repeating the same toxic cycles, more specifically to pinpoint that down for stupidity and bullshit. People who just don't want to learn their lesson. We're observers. This imbalance keeps Sag busy, constantly creating more desires and impulses. There has been no integration of the mental and emotional bodies. Right? So there's that extra toxicity when you've got the aloof, rigid, cold, bean-hearted Aquarius. And then the mean, impulsive, reckless Sagittarius. Sagittarian horses run wild. The urge for adventure is indiscriminate. Fire burns wherever desire takes them. Like I said, wildfire. Not in a good way. They destroy their lives in the process while claiming that they are not in touch with fire sign energy. But is the wildfire who's destroying everything in its path really that oblivious to the destruction it causes? You can't be that much of a seer or an intuitive if that's the case. You're certainly not psychic. Or a healer, for that matter. Yeah, the angels keep saying teacher, 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 or teacher. Just don't. Yeah, well, no, that too. They're not happy that you're claiming to be what you're not, especially while trying to use them to do it. It's fraudulent and, frankly, blasphemy. Sag uses his or her mind to create purposes and ideals to rationalize or justify his egocentricity. And so that where they lack creativity to the point where they feel the need to try to steal from other people, they try to come up with creative ideas to gaslight themselves and others into justifying why they should be able to do that. Or they try to find creative ideas on how to keep doing what they're doing. They try to find creative ideas to keep themselves in the tunnel of Delulu instead of finding a real Solulu. She's super mad at that one. I'm getting pretty tired of it, frankly. Boring. There is tremendous impracticality in actions and a totally irresponsible attitude towards any form of self-discipline, including respect towards others, hence the plagiarism. Urge to increase activity without having a structure or inner truth to guide this expansion results in much scattering of energy, right? Like trying to launch a whole business, plagiarizing me, my life path, everything I do, my destiny, my essence, my personality, my demeanor, my business, my copyrighted business at that. They don't like the throat chakra jumps. They don't like this truth, these karmics. The centaur symbolizes the personality-centered Sag. He is identified with the horse, representing lower selves, passion, and drives, and that's where you get into the promiscuity and the sex and love addictions. But I don't have any fire sign in my chart. Little to no. It's been ruling your whole life, girl. Pretty much. At least a good portion of it. And affecting everything you do recklessly. But both of these says that this is also indicative of why she's been oblivious to this, as well as trying to blame the victim. You can not like the truth all you want, but I'm going to keep speaking until I'm finished. Oh, and I see you sitting there taking notes about what I'm writing. I see it. Negative characteristics of Sagittarius. Sag attempts to have an unerring ability to hit another person's weak point, thus the need for developing tactfulness. So, for example, the way that she tried to victim blame me for being domestically abused, pretty tactless, and also she felt very offended. It hurt her feelings that I called her out for plagiarizing my copyrighted work illegally. And so she thought she'd hurt my feelings by taking knocks at me about my daughter who's being abused and held hostage, which that just shows what kind of person she is, doesn't it? Not a person who's fit to be a wife or a mother, which is what she's been complaining about on Instagram that she's not having for herself. You're not going to get that by attacking a love reader. Especially when God sent me as karma. In fact, that'll get you extra karma in those exact specific arenas. Everything you want most will run harder from you. It's lack and loss frequency. You want to attack other people in this stuff, you'll never get those things for yourself. And if you did, they'd be fake and they crumble. It's just how it works. Law of energy exchange. 124.22. It's Newton's law, babe. It's one of a few of them. I thought perhaps that she was crazy, but she was in fact only highly intuitive. Carl Jung. Though Sagittarius seldom... Oh, that was the wrong page. Hold on. Sag is a procrastinator, can be irresponsible, told you, reckless, boastful, dictatorial, and inconsiderate of others. Sagittarius may fail to keep his promises in the general manner of which they are made. He fails to do so because he's gotten interested in something else, scattering energies too thinly, and simply never gets back to the promise. So it's like quitting something that's working for you to try to copy something else someone else is doing because you're jealous of them or think it'll be more lucrative for you. She wasn't grateful for the blessings she had, so she thought she'd snatch someone else's, but that's not how you earn more. Love and gratitude are the highest vibrational emissions, and you don't get blessings by being jealous of other people. You get more blessings for being genuinely grateful for the ones that you have. What was that? Covetous? Yeah. Thou shalt not be covetous. Hello. Touch not mine anointed, do my prophets no harm. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not be covetous of thy neighbor or thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not lie. That's what I just heard anyway. because Sag is impatient, look, they often have trouble postponing gratification. Yep, so they're impulsive, reckless. It also seems to say that they're usually used to being forgiven. And actually, I did hear that song. I put the blame on you, and it's not okay. Wonder if you've forgiven me yet, because I'm still trying to. I mean, I forgive you for being a clown, Katie Emmett, but no, you'll never have a spot back in my life again. I won't buy tickets to your circus, not my circus, not my monkeys, not my clowns, and I wouldn't take them if they were free. I don't want anything to do with you. Stay away from me. Stay gone. Sagittarius tends to project blame and avoid looking at her own inner world. Thank you, right there. He or she prefers to live in the outer world. Right. Okay, like pretending online to be fake psychic. This projection of his own problems onto others, like you have seen me have to call out the last week. The projection of his or her own problems onto others often results in repeating the same lessons over and over. And I told you, I just, as a Virgo, don't have the patience for it. He or she prefers to live, oh, we did that one already. He or she can fence himself in or herself in with all his projections and the resulting patterns of behavior. And that's exactly what's happened. I've got the evidence to prove what I'm saying. There's no way to argue the point. She tried to back me in a corner with spell work, and I Uno reversed the situation with hard facts and evidence to back it up. There's no way to deny it. And that's why people aren't siding with her. They see that I'm telling the truth, and there's no way to deny it unless you're delusional, and they're not. But she is, and they see that resultantly. Instead of recognizing and learning to control their inner passions, Sagittarius will attempt to control those around them as well as the external environment. And that's also where she went wrong, for starters. Trying to control her own environment by pretending to be me, and then trying to control me when I spoke up about it after she got exposed, for starters. So, she is an ascendant Sagittarius rising, as far as I recall. They can be restless, also due to lack of organization and directed purpose, right? Which is why maybe trying to copy someone else who found their purpose is what they thought the best decision was. Oh, looks like they found their purpose. Maybe if I follow them. Yeah, but that's not your purpose. Their purpose is not your purpose. So copying them because you think it will give you the same outcome isn't for you. It's not your path. And I'll read those destiny books in a minute. Those destiny paths. Actually, I'm hearing that I should split that up on the next one, so I'll do that and take a break between them. Nonetheless, here we go. Sagittarius is supposed to learn to develop tolerance for people, as well as empathy and open-mindedness to the ideas of others, but not to be a thief and then shut them down, you know? Especially when called out for it. That's crazy. I keep getting something about addiction too. It's very, whether it be sex or drugs, alcohol, could be anything. There's an emphasis on projecting blame for their own difficulties onto others as well, refusing to look within for the root of the problem. They allow their restless energies to scatter their energies, and then they accomplish little of lasting value. So she put all this time and energy and years and money, I'm sure, too, into trying to steal from me. And guess what? That all just fell short. That was a bad investment. That was a bad gamble. And frankly, it was illegal, for starters. Definitely it was a spiritual crime, but it was also human. They try to power the opposition, and then also they try to control with a show of verbal force. So this is what she did. This is how she tried to create conflict. She wanted to overpower me because she felt offended that I spoke the truth and I whistleblowed. This is dark side of Sagittarius for you. Because she felt like I was opposition, even though I was well within my right to call her out for stealing from me. And they try to control with a show of verbal force. You saw she tried to bully me and take knocks at my child, my minor child. That was a no-no. She also tried to go behind the scenes and create slander campaigns and gossip about me and try to spin the narrative so people would feel bad for her and be on her side. 133. So there's both. Trying to overpower the opposition. She thought she'd dominate me by bullying me verbally, and then because she didn't like the truth I was speaking, even though it's true, factually speaking, with evidence. 133. Screenshots don't lie, just she did. Her delusional little head. Big impulsive mouth. And secondarily, trying to control with a show of verbal force. So that's 2 for 2. They're not good at listening or truly perceiving what the other is saying, right? So they don't see the truth in a situation, and they tend to be too busy trying to project to truly listen, and that's exactly what's happened. But other people don't agree with them. They think they're looking at them sideways, but they were too busy trying to run their mouth and convince people of this to notice. Impulsive, it's fire. Hot-headed. They tend to take direct action, often before thinking through the situation. So guess what? Trying to gossip about me and get people to feel bad didn't actually have the intended effect. Now people know, not only more people know what happened, but they also agree with me. At minimum, they don't agree with her. 134.44. She impulsively went around. I just stood here on my own channel talking about how she was stealing my work. And she went around gossiping about me and messaging people and all this stuff. I saw it. And she thought that that would work for her. She didn't think about the fact, though, that she'd be caught lying more. She didn't think about the fact that people would flip on her and be able to see her for who she truly is, and also see that it's exactly what I'm saying. It's nothing that I'm saying is nothing that that she's not showing them or that they didn't already know. It's just another situation where I'm bringing it to light. Divine Masculine says, you're probably the only one who stood up to her this way, or maybe could see through it, or had the strength to do it. Whatever it is, it's neither here nor there. It was a problem that needed to be addressed. He or she tends to blame and project others for the conflict. Or he or she tends to project blame for the conflict onto others, refusing to look within for true insight. There's that. So then you have Pisces. She's Pisces moon. I just felt that attack in the solar plexus. And the root chakra too. A little bit in the heart as well. Yeah, that's because your heart is small as a bean, you bitter bitch. Scummy bummy bottom feeding butthole. Cheers. All right. Okay. On a low vibrational, immature, unevolved, dark level is sensitive to everyone and everything with an inability to discriminate the source of that sensitivity, right? So, for example, when they're having their own issues, sometimes they project those out onto others. 13822. Pisces also are very prone to illusion or delusion, not seeing things clearly or trying to live in a fantasy, which has been a recurring theme with this one, you see. And by the way, I will link a previous video that I've done about dark side of Cancer, dark side of Taurus, and the positive attributes in Aquarius. Which outline Mr. Meeker quite well. I'll link that in the description box below. But the particular person who's been targeting me that has the trine, right, the main sun sign, rising sign, and moon sign of Aquarius sun, Pisces moon, and Sagittarius rising, well, this has been a dark person, and that particular person has been embodying the same energy and types of attack, belief system, mentality, and frankly, seemingly demonic possession or attachment as the dark side of Taurus and Cancer that I've dealt with. So they're all just cranked into the same demonic radio station, pretty much. It's like they're just cars, right? And the devil has keys to all of them. Can't relate. Oh, I did just pick up that solar plexus attack, didn't I? The astral plane and solar plexus are usually quite opened and undisciplined. Exactly. And so that's why they've been attacking other people's. So that sensation is often mistaken for consciousness, psychic impressionability, or spiritual understanding, sympathy, and for compassion. Okay. So what this is saying is I just picked up a solar plexus attack. But the reason that I picked that up is because this is a person who's sensitive to everything. So they might feel something. They might feel some kind of psychic shift. Like they might feel their solar plexus shift, but they think it's spiritual understanding. I just got a whole download about that. I don't have this problem, but I'm not Pisces moon. She is. She's confused. I'm not. She being Katie Emmett. So when she gets a gut feeling or something, she thinks it's spiritual understanding, but it's not. She might be picking something up, but she's not actually knowing what she's picking up, whether it be herself or someone else. So maybe she's got her own stuff going on, but instead of acknowledging that she's got to work her own stuff out, she gets that little solar plexus tingle and then tries to go project it out at somebody else because she doesn't have the spiritual understanding that she thinks she does. Yeah. Makes her think she knows things that she doesn't. Not just her, any Pisces on the dark side, but that's just what we're articulating here. So anyway, back to the main consensus. Experience is usually instinctual and emotional. Pisces' openness and acceptance tends not to be grounded in any practical form. So they don't actually know what's going on, but they feel like they do. And because it's not grounded, they don't. Pisces, here's another one. This was the same one as, what was it, Sagittarius or Aquarius? I think it might have been Aquarius. This person often ends up throwing himself or herself away. In some cases, trying to completely merge with the energies of a group as to almost disappear. So that was that whole trying to lose her sense of self because she didn't like herself by becoming part of a spiritual community or claiming to be a teacher of a spiritual group or something like that. The expansive nature of Pisces waters extends outward with no dams or shorelines flooding the surrounding area. As a result, Pisces can end up completely trying to dominate her environment, and that was her trying to target me after I spoke the truth about what was going on. We broke that down in the previous one, how they, what did it say? They try to overpower their opposition. This was Sagittarius rising, or Sagittarius in general, but to control with a show of they're not good at listening or truly perceiving the truth, but they are too busy thinking that they are to really listen. They tend to take forceful out thinking, and then when they get in trouble for it, they try to blame, like stealing from people and getting caught and called out, they try to blame other people for the conflict. Like, it's your fault that I'm being called out. Maybe if you minded your business and didn't notice that I was stealing from you, you'd get your child back. I'm like, no, maybe if you weren't doing things like stealing more resources to actually properly fund that survival and rescue mission for both her and myself. Did you ever think of that? No, because you were too selfishly busy thinking of you and how to project and blame others. That's why you're not fit to be a mother or a wife. You're not even good for yourself. Certainly not good for us. Moving on. So, as a result, Pisces can end up completely dominating her environment, family, oozes out indiscriminately. And thus, in her efforts to extend outward, Pisces can take over through subtle seepage to control, and through subtle seepage control her environment, right? The urge for other worlds and existences. I'm in 9 dimensions all at one time. Well, you should have stayed grounded. Delusional. Check the description box for timestamps and screenshots. Remember that the solar plexus is open to the astral plane. This often leads to, told you, substance abuse or other escape practices, including sex and love addiction. Delusional. Also trying to claim things that they're not, like being spiritual practitioners. At this level, they're attracted to religious groups that are emotional and showy. Like, what did she just get caught doing? Plagiarizing my whole existence. Thank you. Pisces circumvents the mental discipline required to uncover her own inner wisdom. So she just plagiarized my words and claimed that she was qualified to do what I do because she thought she'd copy the external blueprint of what she thinks that I'm doing, but actually didn't do the work to dive into herself spiritually. She didn't actually do the shadow work. She didn't actually tap into the divine to get this wisdom, which is why she's just spitting rhetoric that she thinks sounds smart and good, but she contradicts herself a lot because she doesn't actually know or understand it, and therefore doesn't understand how it applies to her own life, or where when it comes up it applies to her own life, that oblivious illusion energy, and as a result is too busy projecting on others and the whole shebang. Everything that's played out that you've just played out, like, it's right in her chart. She's just following the dark side of it. It's evident. I smell cigarettes. I smelled it this morning too. Somebody's chain smoking anxiously, or there's somebody watching me that I know. There's another reader that's been watching me. Her name is Brittany. I've been picking up that she smokes, and I know this because her reading popped up the other day and I started to smell cigarettes. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, I smell it. Anyway, that's my middle name. 14822. So, attracted to religious groups that are emotional and showy. Pisces circumvents the mental discipline, the actual spiritual work, self-discipline, understanding sense of self, really working those shadow wounds out to uncover their own wisdom, which is why she thought copying mine was the idea, but clearly doesn't understand it or how it applies. I'm picking up she feels very embarrassed by the truth. Divine Masculine said, I would too, you washed her with it. Yeah, that's why she's attacking my throat chakra. She wants me to shut up. No. Pisces is moody, hypersensitive, impressionable, indecisive, changeable, and prone to self-pity. Oh, I'm the victim. No, you're not. The combination of these characteristics and having to deal... They're also manipulative, and they try to emotionally gaslight people and manipulate. I'll play the victim and get sympathy. The combination of these characteristics and having to deal with past life residue renders Pisces in a difficult energy. If asked what is wrong, Pisces is not likely to know. This is where they get into projecting on people. Because of Pisces' undifferentiated psychic attachments on this low vibrational, unevolved, immature level, she's open to being obsessed with astral energies or to have entities attached to her. Didn't I say that? Just couldn't help herself. Impulsive. But it's why they also don't know what's going on with them. Why they're too busy projecting. They don't know themselves. And they put themselves in toxic energy trying to chase people or dive into spirituality when they don't know what they're doing. And then they leave themselves open trying to play with things that they shouldn't be touching, to things like that. I just heard Archon. I don't usually use this term. I don't like to give it attention, but this is what it is. It's an energy, vampire energy, Archon. It's like a dark spirit, and yes, they do have these, like, it's like a cross between a tick and a leech and like a, it's like got these like tentacly things that almost have like stingray hooks on the end of them, or they kind of remind me of tarantulas, the way that they have those hairs on the on their bellies that shoot up like little porcupine quills. And just like porcupine quills, they have these little tiny hooks on the end of them. And when they shoot in, they get stuck. They're harder to take out because they're hooked in like a fish hook to the skin. And they're not quite like porcupine quills, they're just little tiny hairs. But if you are a cosmetologist, or you've ever, had a trim or something and had a little hair get stuck in your shirt or something and it kind of pokes you and it itches, it's called a hair splinter. And if one of those has ever gotten actually in your skin, it's just like a real splinter, a regular wood splinter, but it's really tiny, and so it irritates your skin the same way. You have to get it out, but they're very hard to see because, for as difficult as some splinters can be to get out, small splinters, they're harder to see. So back to the main point. I smell vanilla also now. Picking up a meltdown, karmic having a tantrum, because they know that I'm right, and it's like a reality check. So just to be very clear, it's not like they can just blame these entities for their choices. They had free will. It's like choosing to follow the devil instead of listening to a higher conscience or God. She sat there claiming to be basically a light worker of varying degree, and was running with the devil instead, running on demon time and devil energy as a karmic instead. So you can't blame the demons. Like I said, I've had demons after me too. But you know why they've been after me? Because I opposed them. They ran through her because she didn't. And so that's why she tried to oppose me, because she's in this dark energy. She thought me as a light worker was opposition because she's in darkness. That's that. Claiming to do shadow work, but she is a shadow. Claiming to help heal shadow wounds, but she is a shadow wound. Kind of joking on those last couple parts, but also no. So Pisces has a deeply hidden pride that is fiercely defended if threatened. Well, I deeply bruised that narcissistic injury. Absolutely. Pisces suffers from, she needed to copy me because she thought my self-confidence was, she thought copying me would make her confident like I am. I'm only confident because I'm following my life purpose. People tried to knock me off of it and persecuted me. In fact, the whole thing with my child, they've been trying to say, you're crazy for being a medium, so you want to copy everything I do, dude? You couldn't handle the persecution that comes with being me. But unfortunately, the same people saying those things are criminals. Nobody's opinion is relevant other than my medical team, and I have a neuropsychology, and also I made a point to go through the court to have evaluations. Not because I had to. They had to have my permission. I had my lawyer set that up through the court so that I could, because I knew I wasn't crazy. And I knew that if I went in and had a court evaluator have a nice long chat with me, then they would see that too. And they would see that these criminals are lying, and they do. Oh, they do. So you've had a court evaluation too? Oh, yes. And when Robert Van Horn was lying and trying to say I was homeless and all kinds of stuff in order to try to justify kidnapping my child and not having to send her back illegally. He said I was homeless and that I have not seen a doctor in like 4 or 5 years, which is false. I see one every week, sometimes a few times a week. In fact, I've got 2 doctor's appointments on Del Rey's birthday. Thank you. He also said that I've never had any kind of evaluations or a court thing, but that shouldn't have been an issue at all. It was a smear campaign. She's crazy because she thinks she's psychic. No, she is a psychic and you're threatened. 157:22. And that was a spiritual hate crime, bitch. He was also extorting me. That particular lawyer was also filing fraud to try to financially steal from me. So that was a RICO crime. He's also the one that worked with criminals to try to have me falsely arrested. Did, actually, twice. And then, after injuring me to the point where I wasn't working anymore, wasn't able to work anymore for some time, and then draining my savings as a result of all of this ongoing frivolous litigation, he tried to say, well, it was really expensive and it took up my time to try to falsely accuse her of A, B, and C, so I want her to pay for my fees. I want her to pay for my attorney's fees because it was time consuming and expensive to harass her. And since I've already broken her down and hurt her to the point where she's not working right now and then drained her savings because I've been running her into the ground with fraud, put her in debtor's prison. Yeah, bitch, that was a setup. But they tried it. He even called the police to make false reports on me. What called the police on a woman? Because they're so desperate to win a case. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? That's embarrassing. And then he tried to have the police officers go to court to back up his story as if just because he lied to them and they had written it down on paper that it must be true. And so if the police said it and repeated the rhetoric, then must be valid. Even though I can prove with evidence they're all lying. Oh, God. Uno reverse. You couldn't handle me or my life. I promise you it's not easy. It's not as easy as you think it is or would be or make yours. That's why you're struggling. When people claim that they have gifts that they don't and spiritual rank that they don't, like she did, God will start putting them through tests that they should be able to perfectly handle, fine and dandy, if they actually are who they claim to be and have the skill set and the ranking that they claim to, but they don't. And they don't expect that, you see, because they're not gifted enough to actually be in touch with the divine to know that that's how those cycles and these lessons work. These are people who got jobs by claiming that they were perfectly fluent in Spanish, not realizing that they only got picked over all the other candidates for that job because the employer was specifically looking for a Spanish translator. They think they're going to go into the job and get paid for this job that they lied and frauded their way into by falsifying their qualifications, except for they don't realize they're just about to, on their first day at work, embarrass themselves by proving to the boss that they lied on their resume in front of not only the boss, but the new clients that the boss wanted a translator for. Exposed. Wasted everybody's time, including her own. If it wasn't so embarrassing, it'd be more funny. Embarrassing for her, really. It's like secondhand. Ugh. You get the ick from it. I do anyway. Nobody wants to be around that. Pisces tends not to care for her physical body, often rendering it to a tavern in which great suffering ensues. Pisces without spiritual orientation feels separated, resulting in tendency to be complacent. Pisces tends to see life in absolute terms according to her own concept of black and white. But you see, there was that rigidity and that coldness, that aloof over presumptiveness. She has a Pisces moon also. Yeah. It says that this individual will learn to best balance Pisces moon, their emotions when they channel them into constructive activities such as art. And so, like I said, she was on the right path when she was doing that. But she quit her job at that and started struggling when she decided she wanted to become me one day. It wasn't her path. It wasn't giving to her the way she wanted to because she was being a grifter. God did not call her to copy me. She quit her divine calling, or part of it, to try to take mine, copy mine, usurp mine. 164:44. It wasn't very intuitive or sovereign by any means. Certainly wasn't very becoming of her. Escaping, they have to be careful about escaping through the physical world or through substance abuse or living in a dream world. Like deluding themselves into thinking that stealing from someone else is a good idea. Moon and Pisces people allow life to defeat them and fail to determine constructive direction in life, right? Which is why copying me is a crumble and a bust. It's a waste of time and energy and investments. Moon in Pisces holds the potential to be incredibly creative through learning to use her sensitivity to enhance her artistic endeavors. Pisces is hypersensitive and can become depressed easily over little things said to them. If Pisces feels she's being criticized, she will suffer extreme embarrassment. If the criticism becomes severe, Pisces will tend to panic, causing her to either flee or become hysterical. In times of conflict, Pisces may attempt to rationalize or victim blame her way out rather than face the consequences or engage in open communication. Yeah, it's like bullying me. 2:22 here on the clock on the East Coast. honest communication can be difficult because Pisces often does not know why she's disturbed or behaving as she is. That's why she was just lashing out. I saw where it was coming from, but she was just angry. But also remember, she's got the Sagittarius on the dark side, and Sagittarius are also victim blamers. Also, Aquarius are aloof and detached to the point where often they can't pinpoint what's what. There's a disconnect between heart and head here, and it's a reversal. It's like they're too in their head when they should be in their heart, and they're too overly emotional when they should be more focused and rational. There's no balance. And then you see this Pisces doesn't help either. Just flows back and forth between the bad cycle. Just going in circles. There's a reference of them being prideful too, overly prideful. So that's all I have to say about that for now. I do think I need to pull another deck. And then I'll pull out the Destiny book, but we'll do that later. Divine Masculine, he said this twice, so I'm going to give him the space to speak. He says, "You're such a badass. You read her like a book, and you don't even know her." Yeah, I really am a psychic. I just got chills. Angel waves. My little baddie. I heard that. That's funny. Bad bitch on my team. Heard. I ain't got no type. Bad bitches is the only things that I like. I make my own money, so I spend it how I like. Cheers. All right. Okay. Thank you, God. Whoa. Count your blessings, like I said. This was an energy that was not grateful for what they had. They were jealous of what others had, and so they quit their own day job and blessings to try to copy other people's. They thought it would make them happier because they thought that we looked happier than they felt. But you see, trying to snatch what makes someone else happy isn't going to make you happy. If it's for them and they're following their path, it makes them happy simply because it's for them and they're following their path. And that's what they failed to know and understand. Look, the signs are with you already, but they weren't listening. I told you it was hailing out, snowing earlier. Tempting offer has a high price, and they already fell for it. Carnivorous, greedy, little weirdo, and it backfired. They were impulsive, didn't think about the consequences of pretending to be something that they were not, didn't think that when they were claiming to be divinely connected, that the divine would hear that and actually come a knocking for retribution divinely. Working too hard. Yeah, you wonder why you have to burn yourself out for a purpose that's not even yours. If the only opposition that you have is the divine, then what's the issue? You see, the divine is not my opposition. Domestic abuse, criminal conspiracy has been. There's a difference. 172.22. And not opposition because they're relevant, opposition because they thought that trying to bully me was the best choice for them in their life. Okay, transition to the spirit realm. So some of these people will not be making it here for much longer, and some of them will be stuck facing the consequences of their actions in jail because their glamour magic fell off. So nobody believes them. Nobody believes them. I heard that. Are those your real nails? Yes. I need to trim them a little bit, but their masks fell off. Yeah, they did this because they were bored. They were bored of their own life. They were unhappy with their life. They were not happy within themselves, and they saw us happy. So they thought that they would be happy if they copied what we were doing. Not realizing that we were doing what our life purpose was, and we were in our life purpose and in alignment with our highest selves, which is what made us happy. That's why they took what they thought made us happy, and they still weren't. Ancient wisdom, because the divine did not support them. They did not get the clearance to do what they did and take what they took. The angels, the ancestors are chuckling over my shoulder, laughing. Like they really thought that they'd have our support like you do. Yeah, no, intoxication, distorted view of events. Well, I ripped the illusion straight off of that, didn't I? Maybe it was me, Saudi. Maybe it was me that... Yeah, your witchcraft backfired and got exposed. Powerful energy shift. Told you. Your little Santeria. I don't practice Santeria. Voodoo and blue, back off. Told you. You little sewer mermaid. Pisces moon. Yeah, we get to heal and rest now. Ooh, told you. Some of these people are facing death prophecy now. Some of these karmics wish they could come back in our lives. Some of these karmics are going to be widowed or really lose out on relationships because that's what they were wishing for us, or they were bullying people who have been through worse than them, bullying people who they thought that they were superior to, but bullying people who have a much greater understanding of the depth of pain of something like that. And so now their karma and their consequences, they're going to lose something or someone that really makes them happy because they were trying to target somebody else. And it's not so much of a punishment as it is for them to understand how they made someone else feel in an identical situation. It's very sad that they had to experience that to learn that. Some of us don't have to go through those crappy things to understand that that's just not the way to treat people. Some of us can see that from afar. Yeah, see, from death comes rebirth. Namaste. Time for change. Learn something new. Use technology and gadgets for wisdom, not theft and plagiarism and rhetoric. Power of 3. So there's protection, divine protection for the light workers here. But those witchcraft energies, they're in trouble, especially ones trying to play with elemental realms and magic. They lost their chance, lose hope in reverse. That was the first card that came out, actually, one of the first ones in this reading. I did some spell work energy, or I called out the spell work that was being sent in the beginning of this reading. There's another witch. There you go. Trying to block people's life paths. And I mentioned that earlier. They thought that they were going to stop people, but they couldn't. All they could do was set the timelines back a little bit. Sweet memories. We don't have sweet memories of them, though. When we really do realize who they are, we may have had love for people, we may have really supported people, but the second you find out somebody's been stabbing you in the back, stealing from you, plagiarizing from you, whatever love or, you know, compassion or like perceptive mutual connection or even admiration that you thought you shared, because that's what they were falsely projecting, mirroring, narcissistic mirroring, that goes away. Because all of a sudden now you see them for who they are, which is a fake person, somebody who is taking advantage of your kindness, being manipulative. And so all of a sudden you go from having love for this person who you thought was a mutual healthy connection to seeing that they were a grimy snake and like, what, why? No, you pull back. Sweet memories. You don't see them the same anymore. Because you see them for who they are. The mask fell off. The past returns for a time and there's no going back. This is in reverse. They're not allowed to come back. Not coming back, and you can't come with me. Anything else? Clear solution and an aha moment just fell out together. So did calm amidst the chaos. They're not, though. Holding on way too tight. Okay, so they're having a reality check as to the fact that they're not the peaceful people they claim to be, and they shouldn't have been targeting people, and they are holding on. They need to let go. Let me let you go. Quiet when I'm coming home and I'm on my own. How can I and say I like it like that, like it like that. Hurt. Storm angel. Collision of beliefs. It's in reverse. How are you going to try to argue with me when you're trying to copy everything I do as well? You know, that kind of an energy. This doesn't make sense. It's like they're trying to oppose the person they're copying because they don't want people to know they're copying that person. It's animosity that stemmed from jealousy. There's no fresh start on this situation. Yeah, see, death. It's done. It's a deaded connection. They violated our boundaries. They didn't know when to leave people alone. Anything else? Yeah, they weren't seeing very clearly. In this case, this one tried to compete with a Seraphim High Priestess. Hello. You're Seraphim incarnate, okay, at that. Let's just be real and call it like it is. Thank you. Try to use moon magic against the moon angel. That was dumb of you. 181:22. Yeah, aloha healing, but we're healing. It's time to be brave. So I stood up and spoke the truth. They're feeling quite heartbroken about being let go, though. Or they will be. And for the light workers, any damage that was done is being healed out and released. Yeah, see, the ancestors just pulled up. Holy angels, ancestors, all the beings from all the realms to step in and protect miraculous healing and divine intervention. Yeah. To show these people that they never had the power that they thought that they did. You three-headed snake. You three-headed snake. Heard the gossip. I heard the rumor that you said you made me who I am. 128:22. Darling, you're a fan. You're so toxic. Like Britney, bitch, I block you just because I can. You're a fan, bitch, please. Mildew fairy, you little mildew maiden. Told you. Now, after she decided to plagiarize my whole life and business, she went into debt and went into credit card debt after taking a bunch of credit cards out because her whole house was like full of mold and everything she owned and her clothes and like everything. I mean, she was getting her butt kicked for stealing from me. And then she went and tried to use that as like a victim story to try to get more business after that. And that's why this is coming around again. And she's really getting it this time. 183:22. Little mildew maiden. Clean it up. Stop lying. Let me go. Get rid of the content. Take the websites down. Or I'll have a judge make you do it. And that's not a threat. It's already in progress. Please remember to pray. Do no harm. Take no crap. Let's do some Reiki before I go. Actually, no, let's save it for the next one. And I'll catch you on the next one. I will be back later. To read a couple destiny paths and do some Reiki. Take care in the meantime. 184:22.